Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network LLC. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And on this episode of Scam DamNation, we're going to talk about the feds fining the Mormon Church for illicitly hiding $32 billion investment fund behind shell companies. And they've been doing this more for 20 years or 2 decades. The story is written by Rob Weil, and it came out in 2023, which is only a year ago, and it's been brought to the attention. The Church of Latter-day Saints is a non-profit, and it's been fined $5 million by the Securities and Exchange Commission over accusations that the religious institution failed to properly disclose the investment holdings. The SEC alleged that the church illicitly hid its investments and their management behind multiple shell companies from 1997 to 2019. In doing so, it failed to disclose the size of the church equity portfolio to the SEC and the public. What's wrong with this picture, folks? If a normal person did it, it would be called fraud, scam. But I guess they have another name for it in the Mormon Church. The church says, and told the SEC the reason why it didn't disclose the assets in the name of the nonprofit, which was called Ensign Peak Advisors, who manages the church investments, would lead to negative consequences in light of the size of the church's portfolio. How nice for them. Anybody else would have gotten into serious trouble. The allegations of an illicit shell company structure first emerged in 2018 when a group formerly called the Mormon Leaks, all one word, MORMONLEAKS, now known as the Truth and Transparency Foundation, claimed that year the extent of the church's investment had reached $32 billion. Wouldn't you like to have that? The following year, a whistleblower filed a complaint to the Internal Revenue Services. Yes, that question is answered. You need to pay taxes on your investments as well. So when you do your yearly taxes, you need to fill out forms of assets that you made money on to the IRS so they can receive the benefits of you earning money on those assets. And the church did not want to do that. A whistleblower filed a complaint. According to a 2020 Wall Street Journal report, the newspaper said the church's holdings had grown to $100 billion. I wish I had $100 billion, and I'm sure you would too. The SEC accused the church Tuesday of going to great lengths to avoid disclosing its investments, and in doing so, depriving the commission and the investing public of accurate market information. So when they tithe in your church, you can thumb your nose and say, nope, you should be tithing me. The requirement to file timely and accurate information on Forms 13F applies to all institutional investment managers, including nonprofit and charitable organizations, said Gerber S. Gruwal, director of the SEC's Division of Enforcement, in a statement. In a statement, the church said that starting in 2000, its Ensign Peak Investment Management Group, quote, received and relied upon legal counsel regarding how to comply with its reporting obligations while attempting to maintain the privacy of the portfolio, unquote. When it comes to money and assets, the IRS demands its share from us and from nonprofits and charities. As a result, it said, Ensign Peak established separate companies that each filed require disclosure forms instead of a single aggregated filing. In other words, not only did they lie, they cheated on their responsibilities and accountabilities. Lawyers aren't the most faithful, and they're not always holding to the truth. And they will bend the laws to fit what they feel that their institution needs in order to get by. I mean, look at all those Ponzi schemes that have lawyers involved. Ensign Peak and the church believe that all securities required to be reported were included in the filings by the separate companies, the church said in its statement. Really? Is that why a lot of companies run double books? The false one and the truth, when it will come out, will hurt? After the SEC expressed concern about Ensign Peak's reporting approach in June 2019, the church said Ensign Peak adjusted its approach and began filing a single aggregated report. Nice of them. Since that time, the church says it has filed 13 quarterly reports in accordance with the SEC requirements. But why did somebody notify the SEC in the first place? Why didn't they do what the law required in the first place? Why did they think they would get away with it? Are they so above everybody else in the law that they feel because they're an institution for Christ, they can do anything they want as long as they confess their sins every Sunday? The church also said that this settlement relates to how the forms were filed previously. Ensign Peak and the church have cooperated with the government over a period of time as we sought resolution. We affirmed our commitments to comply with the law, regret mistakes made, and now consider this matter closed. Really? I don't think it should be closed. I think there should be a further investigation, because if they did it once, what's to prevent them from trying to get away with it a second time? These people think that they can do anything they want and get away with it because they have all this money. Which reminds me of several other people who have billions of dollars and bought themselves a presidency. So what is that saying to the citizens of the United States? That we as a religious institution can hire our lawyers and they can bend the law and the truth to what we want. And if we're really lucky, no one will notice. And that's how they're looking at it. And that makes me very uneasy. So what else is the Mormon Church hiding from its followers, and more importantly, from the rest of the country and from the rest of the world? Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Scam DamNation and the fraud committed by the Mormon Church, who, very much like the Catholic Church, thinks it's above the law and can make them up as they go along. This podcast was brought to you by the Obstacles of Podcast Training. Anybody can learn how to podcast, use it in their school, use it at the office, use it anywhere they want. Go over to education.passionworldtalkradio.com and take a look. 2-month course, 1 hour a day, interactive, and the most important, you put together 3 podcasts of your own, and for 3 consecutive weeks, you get to broadcast your podcast on the air, live or pre-recorded, video, audio, however you want. And also by a publishing company that cares, and they want to help you get your memoirs of your life out, not only to your family and peers and friends, but to an interested public who might even find they have something in common with you after all. Interested? Contact Lillian at pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. Wanting to learn AI and learn it before it becomes really complicated? In the 2025 era, visual and verbal are the name of the game, and if you do not know how to use it, you will be left behind. So check out AIwithlillian.com. Visit the website. Go through the demo. and then sign up for a monthly investment. It's a no-brainer, and you want to make the best of your life, personal, business, spiritual, however you want to do it. AI is here to stay. It's like the birth of a nation, except now it's the birth of your mind and expanding it. Thank you very much for listening. You want to see this all over again? Of course you do. Go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com, scroll down to current affairs, click on it. It will take you, or the state of current affairs, click on that. It'll take you to a page where there's a Google link. Click on the Google link, and it will take you right into the belly of the beast. Have a marvelous weekend, and we'll enter the first full week of January 2025 together.